today, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to talk about challenges new growers face when trying to tackle the garden.
So many.
Yes.
Okay.
So many. I think
And there is a lot. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say, honestly, man, one, that it's not in chronological order in terms of any notes taken, but one is information overload. The amount of information we have put out in this Canadian trip could ruin somebody's garden, or it could take it to the next level. The problem is you get so much information, you're not following a step-by-step guide, and you're just watching podcast episodes or not chronological ordered episodes. You get too much information. You get 4 books. You got Jorge Cervantes, shout out to the OG. You got his book. You got Chris's book. You got Grow Course. You got live streams. You're watching Scrog School. You implement too many things, it's going to become overwhelming, and you're not going to get the best results. Sometimes you need to simplify it. And I think the biggest challenge a new grower can get is overwhelmed. They'd be overwhelmed with the information. It's sad but true.
I agree. I mean, back when I first started growing in 2010, I would rely on forums. And forums, there's certainly a bunch of different people on there, different opinions, different ways to grow. But I feel like a lot of people would come to a consensus on things, and people would find out, look at the person who's growing the good-looking plants, and then they would do the same methods. So there was some consensus. There was a lot of people were doing the same thing because they were influenced by each other. And then, of course, there are different forums, and then comes websites, and then YouTube really took off, and information overload. There's so many different sources. You got Facebook. I mean, Facebook groups. You ask a question there, and the amount of answers you get back is like 50 different answers. What's wrong with my plant? You got 50 different answers from people, and they give 50 different steps of advice. It's information overload. So, a way to kind of combat that, is to do your due diligence, look at different sources for information, try to identify what's credible, and maybe stick with one person, kind of follow them, and try to implement what they're doing. Just Rob. Just implement what he's doing, and you'll be successful. No, but some people have done just that in the past, right? I'm sure you had many people over the years like, dude, I learned how to grow from you. You could probably get comments, dude, I learned how to grow from you. Thank you so much. All your information is great and stuff like that. That's somebody that has stuck to your way of growing, and they've been successful. Whether or not they, if they were to take what you're saying and what I'm saying, Jeremy from Build a Soil, pigeons, we've 15 different methods. We're all growing different ways. Well, things can get confused. And it's like you can make mistakes. You Google the wrong way. You could implement a watering practice that's ideal for synthetic growing in an organic system, and then you've made a mistake there by doing a dry back and killing off some of your microbes. Right? There's information overload could certainly put you into hot water.
Dude, the amount of people who are like, I'm using Gaia Green and cocoa, and then I'm also using a little bit of advanced nutrients, and then
I got kelp in there, and then I also got some oyster shell flour.
And then I just bought stash blend, and I'm going to start using.
You think I can pee in there as well?
Yeah, and then I'm going to pee around it and in it. I think that's the prime example is you can rock with everybody and watch the content, but to follow the recipe or the method, you almost want to choose your mentor or your place of information and get one full run simplifying that process. You don't open up a recipe book, 3 recipe books, and follow the same one to make barbecue ribs. You're going to do one, and you're going to stick with that because they may contradict themselves, and they may make it so your end result's just a nasty, overcooked, chewy piece of trash versus doing things the right way and following the right, standard operation and procedure that somebody lays out could give you the best results you've had with minimal information intake. You just follow it.
And use that as a stepping stone, right? Maybe that's your first run is just kind of following what Rob does and then branching out. And then you're saying, Pigeons does this thing. It's kind of interesting. Let me try this one technique. You know what I mean? You don't have to completely switch up your whole style, but at least you've already gone through a successful run, and now you can start to pick off other people. What you find that intrigues you, that excites you, and you want to try it and try to have fun with it, right? That's the way to go about it.
Oh my gosh, if you're listening to me, you're hooped. You're hooped.
You're done, brother.
I think a big challenge too is that I'll hold myself accountable for this, is that we are often as creators or influencers or as faces of the products and the companies and the industry and the plant, is that we forget too that you don't need to buy everything to get started.
Equipment
You know,
overload.
when you look at equipment, that's it. Equipment,
Shiny object syndrome.
Shiny
it
object
hurts,
syndrome.
man.
That's exactly
And
what it is.
that's something. It's something that's a reality. You know, when I look into your tent, or even my own tent. Now, both of your tents are far more advanced than mine is.
Because they're AC Infinity.
But it's like, well, yeah. But it's like there's a lot going on in there. You do not need a light as large as I have, and I'm using a Spider Farmer SE 7000. You do not need something that large. You could get away with
4x4 too, eh? I didn't even think
we
about
actually have videos. I can't remember the episode now, many months ago, of us going through. Do you guys remember growing on a bare minimum?
Oh yeah.
And we said you could
It was
grow
like a decade ago.
You could grow with a and you corrected me. It's not a quantum board. It's a LED.
Quantum light.
LED board. Quantum board is
LED.
trademarked. That is trademarked by HLG.
Okay, so it's an LED board.
That's crazy.
So I think too. It's like I remember being so excited to run to the wife and be like, okay, this is what I need, and the list was so long, and it's like that's taking a dent out of your family budget. That's really it. Not only is it hurting the budget, but I can assure you, a lot of those things you're buying at the beginning, you either don't need or don't need now, because if you're worried about harvest, buying trimmers and grove bags and sea vaults, and you haven't even planted a bean yet, priorities are a little messed up. Don't worry about that. Get a little bit farther down the line. I'm not saying wait till harvest, but get a little bit farther down the line before you're trying to think about storage methods. So yeah, shiny object syndrome. Don't fall accustomed to it. But I kind of want to caveat that with, if you are following somebody, like, I want to caveat that with, if you're following somebody like Rob or Chris or myself, ask them. You can reach out, and I know all of us have avenues to do so, and I'm sure you can figure out how to do that.
It's too easy.
But it's like just maybe ask in regards to, all right, how much of this do I need? Is this something I need, or is this something that I want to work towards?
And also, is it something that's necessary to buy right now today?
That's what
Yeah.
That's one that I was going to expand on a little bit, is maybe you might want to consider buying as you need it throughout the different stages of growth, which you really kind of touched upon. You don't need to buy harvest equipment when you're planting a seedling, right? It's like, and that's one of the things I started out with. I mean, I was on a budget, so it's like, okay, what do I need to begin? I need a container, I need some soil, and I need to figure out how to light it, and the ventilation took a little bit of a back seat to begin, right? It was just the oscillating fan. Well, and then you can kind of continue on and buy things as you go on. And then once you get towards harvest, you're about to harvest, okay, what do I need? I'm going to need trimmers. Do I really need a drying rack, or can I get away without it? It's like, you also got to consider whether or not you truly need it, or if you can do it without buying it. Like a drying rack's a perfect example. Some people use it and they really find it helpful, but it's not needed. It's unnecessary. I wouldn't say unnecessary, but it's really not a requirement to have a drying rack.
Well, that, and you can make one DIY
You
style,
can make
like
one.
a shoe
DIY,
rack. I've used
yep.
the shoe racks that are pretty much just very breathable mesh material, and those have worked just as well. I do feel, I'm good on that there is some validity to wanting to keep up with the Joneses as why some people end up buying things, and it's not because they feel, oh, that's so valuable, I need it. It's because they're like, well, yeah, I do have 4 oscillating, beautiful Cloud Ray Gen 2 fans from AC Infinity, but the S9s just came out. And that's the new hot thing. And that's, if you need it, if you're going to get a new fan, yeah, obviously, then upgrade and do that. But there's no reason to have a very good quality piece of equipment that's sitting in your closet now because you decided to get the next cool hot thing. This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.